Hey, how's it going? Well, did this video in black and white because I wanted to appreciate your position with what you're doing with your behavior and how you celebrate that you're trying to help yourself, and you should reward yourself for that. You should. Oh gosh, everything got blurry. Um, there's nothing wrong with you. Um, you just need more practice. The labels are great. It perhaps gives people more purchase on what they feel is wrong with them. Uh, we all have an individual story, you know. Uh, you may have laid with dogs and picked up fleas that didn't belong to you, or perhaps you were in an environment with folks that didn't cope well with their own shortcomings or lack of self awareness. At the end of the day, really, all of us are just surviving and figuring ourselves out. Life is the kindergarten forever. Uh, we're just big little kids, trying to figure it out and stuff. I will say, I have other videos on this stuff, like the five. Instead of feeling like you're carrying around this one big thing, you're carrying around five things, five small things, 20%, right, of your 100%, because that's all it can be. Um, maybe forgive yourself for not being perfect, because you're only perfect when you're dead, uh, and that's a whole nother topic entirely. But to keep this short, I uh, I don't want to take a lot of your time. Journaling's great. You know all the things. You wouldn't be here if you had, not felt like you stumbled with any of these things. And to bring it back to the practice thing, isn't that a lot? Uh, isn't that a lot more humane and dignified way of looking at yourself? And flag, right? I call these flags, or check engine lights. Uh, and that's all any of the stuff is. They're just little flags and check engine lights and stuff. And some of us are carrying around other people's flags and other people's check engine lights, and we might feel responsible for them. And that's a lot of walk and talk, and self acknowledgement and journaling and stuff. I'm sorry, Billy's trying to express himself. Maybe he's doing a walk and talk. By the way, if you don't feel like journaling, because usually whenever you're in the red and you need some relief and everything, you probably don't have the energy for all these self help people's notions and stuff. I'm here to tell you that you just need more practice, and you know, uh, what gets measured gets improved. Maybe journaling can look like just writing down what you did that day, and so you got a notebook. It's filled with pages of "I got out of bed." You still wrote something down. It's a beginning. Um, and that brings me to like any of this ADHD or whatever you guys call it and stuff. I don't want to be insensitive. Wear your badge proud, whatever works for you and stuff. And try to remind yourself you're not your problems. You probably are in this situation because you might be too anxious to feel like you can go out there and smooth off the rough edges societally and stuff. And you know in the past few years and stuff, that hasn't been as much of an opportunity, and perhaps not as encouraging. um, that there's a lot more to socializing than just diving in. You can just like dip a toe, you can whatnot. But anyway, to any I don't want to say anyway, because that seems dismissive. you, I'm trying to keep this as I'm working on things as well. This is a fledgling channel. I started making videos a while back when I was dating someone that I felt was very important to me, and I said, well, gosh, I think we all have the building blocks. I think we all have the tools to solve our own problems given enough time, and focus. So when I was going to visit her and stuff, I'd make these videos. Uh, for, it's just so I think we're better doctors than we are patients. So Billy, you little needy devil, Billy very much wants to meet you guys. At what I did was, Billy, you're a silly boy, you're a silly boy. I made a video for someone in my position, and I highly recommend doing that. Oh, I don't have memory card space. I don't this. I don't that. You'll figure it out. It doesn't have to. You don't have to turn the video on. Anywho, uh, yeah, I make these videos out of my own necessity. It helps me to help others. I feel like I have something to offer. I think I have some good tools, which brings me to because I don't want to do too much of this, and perhaps if you need more, you can check out some of the other videos, or maybe I'll make more videos per your request in the comment section or something. Uh, a lot of the scripts for any of these labels and stuff are like being disorganized and this and that. I mean, look at commercialism. There's, hey, do you have this problem? I've got the solution and stuff. And it seems all too convenient. I mean, what is it in the Bible or whatever? I'm not one of those people, but, what is that guy said? There's nothing new under the sun. Everyone since the beginning of time has been dealing with the same things, the same human experiences and everything. And it obviously just changes shape with, as time goes on, we have more or less, more or fewer things to be encumbered by. Uh, but any back to the matters at hand. Without saying anyway, right? See, practice. I tried it. How's the salad? Is that all right? Uh, Mnemonics, right? A neat little word. Interesting spelling. Uh, so you feel like you're not organized and everything, right? Well, again, you might just, you know, any of the underlying things. How about we flip that 80/20? Instead of you feeling like you're 80% wrong, how about you feel like you're 20% wrong? Because that'd be a lot more rational and relevant to cogent to your being and everything. But so again, maybe there's not as much wrong with you. Maybe that's just check engine light you might have picked up from someone else to feel like you're solving the problem, but it's clearly not helping and everything, and it just keeps you in the red. Now I'm gonna throw this in because I failed to realize it because I'm not exercising, wearing the glasses to see my notes, and I think we're on time here. I said I wanted to keep this within 5 minutes, and well, we're outside of that 5 minutes. I did say plus or minus. So obviously, that of your five, sleep, diet, health, health, nutrition, family, and friends, and habits and stuff, right? Well, if you break that down, like let that be your journaling thing. List those, and list your contributions and stuff. And for some of you, family's going to be a red flag, so just don't even address it. Deal with the others, because the majority is going to rule, right? It really is just math. If you just add a little bit more each day and everything, like a grain of sand to a beach, before you know it, you have this Eden. And homeostasis is a process. It's not a goal. You live it a little more every day. You live it. But back to the mnemonics, and obviously that if you have better sleep, better diet, better this, better that, your brain's going to work better. It's going to feel less on fire. I get this weird sinus thing when I have dairy. I just made some eggs with peppers, and uh, some stuff, bacon, and I'm not crazy about the sodium from the bacon and stuff, but I'm picking my evils there and stuff because I don't want to have to clear my throat like crazy because I have postnasal drip from being allergic to dairy. But oh gosh, is it delicious, and some scrambled eggs. But that's one of the other things. Exercising a little bit of self control. That's what breathing techniques are and stuff. And reminding yourself that you have self control. So back to my little mnemonics. And see, I want you to see how all of this works in concert with one another. So even if you're not doing all of it, if you're doing some of it, it's gonna bleach. It's gonna leach into bleach. It's gonna leach into all the other things. And again, just let that undulate around. Maybe you'll be better at 3 of the 5. Maybe you'll be better at 2 of the 5. But obviously, you should have patience with yourself that perhaps someone else didn't exercise, and that's why you might be catastrophizing yourself to work all that out. Maybe forgive those people. Maybe that's what your journaling looks like, is forgiveness of those people, and perhaps yourself for not being what these people had poor expectations of. But yeah, with the organization and everything, just a little mnemonic or something. If you're in your travels through your home or your business or whatever it is, that it might be feeling like it's not that organized. you know One important thing to remember is, put it away, don't put it down. That's like 95% of it. And again, with practice, it'll become a habit and you'll do it. Just be nice to yourself along the way. Have patience with yourself and stuff. That's one of the oldest things. You see it embroidered on, little ladies' things and stuff. And it's like, wow, if little ladies were talking about patience, maybe it really is a thing, right? So, having realistic expectations. You're not going to change a whole bunch of stuff overnight. But, okay, let's say you're going to do laundry, or you're going to brush your teeth, you're going to whatever. You know where you're going to go next, or maybe you're like, oh well, this thing's important to me and I want to make sure I don't lose it. A lot of you guys lose your keys. Your keys can only live in one place. That's it. Your keys can only live in one place when they're not in the car. And maybe that's a huge flag. You're just like, oh my god, I can't deal with that. Okay, that's fine. The laundry, you keep the laundry, something in your house, the fridge, something you keep organized and everything, and you build off of that. You're like, okay, I know I'm going to this. If I know I'm going to this, I'm going to take it. I don't want to forget this. I'm going to leave it at this spot. And you'll have that eventually with spaces. I mean, it took me months or years to do this, but and I mean, I've generally am pretty organized just because I had help in that area, but obviously, I have shortcomings in others. But I promise you, if you just, and I'd love to be able to make these jump cut videos of, me using mnemonics throughout a series of behaviors or, to-dos around the house, but I don't know how to do that. This is the best I can do right now because I'm learning just like the rest of you. But yeah, be kind to yourself along this journey with any of this. At the end of the day, any of your, feeling uneasy, feeling like you're incomplete, feeling like you're wrong and broken, that's just a check engine light. And, I'm not trying to get you to go look at any of my other videos. It's just there's only enough time, and this video would be much too long if I were to ramble about the various topics. But it's very important that you understand that these are just indicators. Whenever you feel upset about something, whenever you feel in the red about things, and I'll use the 5. I always say, if this is lighting up, it's probably indicative that one of the other things is crazy. Now again, family, for a lot of you, family is going to be a big red flag and stuff. Just don't worry about it. You still have all this, the rest of this. So if this is lighting up and stuff, darn good and well, you can rely on one of those. And, pick away at it and stuff, I mean, break it down into little bitty pieces, little digestible pieces. That may be the whole reason your check engine light is coming on, is because you may be wanting too much too fast. And that's a story as old as time with human beings. Um, at the end of the day, your check engine light is likely impatience, and impatience with yourself. Perhaps an extension of poor patience exercised by someone in your past, and you probably are just carrying that around with you so that you can decipher why they were so unfair. Well, again, back to the forgiveness. Uh, you know, they could be completely wrong, but look at their situation and figure it out. That's all that any of that is just you haven't put in the work to look through it and everything. And it might be as simple as like filling out a form or anything else we put off. I mean, a, what if I love this? I need to make a what if video, and I very well may. And thank you for the impetus for to make that video. Thank you. We're all helping each other. What if there was nothing wrong with you? What if you were just fine and a lot of this was just a cloud, of nonsense that you could just slough off? What if you were over here trying to solve someone else's ills? What if you were trying to solve someone else's brokenness or imperfections and lack of patience with themselves? I mean, think about it. A lot of people are traumatized by their childhood. Think about, I mean, if you're a parent, you fully understand, your parent's position and everything. Here's this person that stuck with it, and they may not have handled it well, but a lot of empathy and forgiveness can relieve you of general you, not specific you, uh, of of a lot of the responsibility we held uh, for the feelings of others. It's just incongruous. I'm running on a bit, so I better let you go. But I hope you could hear this. I hope you could, make some notes, perhaps rewatch this or something, and remind yourself you just need more practice. Maybe put all those labels down. Maybe go out and walk around. Can't walk around people. I mean, I was in a situation to where I wasn't able to go for my walks and everything, and I had to walk indoors for a little while and everything, and I just, you know, walked in circles. Back I had acid reflux really badly, and it was too cold to go out and walk, so I literally stood in front of the TV and walked in place for 15 minutes to help my food settle, and it helped. Um, you know, you're really important. You're really special. You matter. And evolution don't make no junk. Natural selection don't make no junk. I think that was the way I coined it. But yeah, man, just be nice to yourself. That's all it is. I mean, like we spoke earlier, and I love when I do this, getting to end with the beginning there and stuff. Uh, it's always the kindergarten. So, you know, pretend like all the things you're saying to yourself, you're saying to a little kid, because at the end of the day, that may be whom you're addressing. And it might give you more practice in exercising the reason that perhaps wasn't bestowed to you early on, and you'll be able to enact all of the previous things we just addressed. I'm telling you, um, you know, time, you're not going to stop it, and it cleanses all wounds. It builds all empires, and it cleanses all wounds. You just have to be patient with yourself. Stay busy. If you're sleeping like crap, I mean, own it. Own it and know that you'll eventually do better. If you're eating like crap, own it. Rinse and repeat. But whatever your five are that aren't working for you and everything, just be kind to yourself about it. Life isn't supposed to be perfect, but gosh, man, if you had 80% That's pretty great. You might be just at like 60% or something like that. Maybe it isn't as bleak. Maybe you're so important that maybe your life is so important to time and the rest of the world being an example, because that's what you should always do. So remember to be nice to yourself along the way, so that all the little kids and whomever's around you, has someone, positive to look up to, and sees that, you're a living, breathing, mistake-making individual, just like the rest of the 115 billion people in human existence. Uh, be nice to yourself, and see you next time.